Hello, my dear children. Namaste, and welcome to yet another session of your CBSE Class 9 chapter, The Fundamental Unit of Life. This is Ambika, your master teacher of biology, here at this amazing platform of Vedantu. Okay, so let's get going, guys. So this is still your chapter 1, and today we are going to be discussing a lot of the core contents which are part of this chapter. So stay with me until the end, and we'll find a few easy ways also by which you can remember them. But before that, as always, I would like to give you a positive quote. Sometimes you win, sometimes you no, not lose, you learn. Okay, so let's remember that every time we think we are losing or we are probably failing, we are actually not failing or losing, we are actually learning a lesson. And as long as we have the positivity to find the lesson in every failure or every mistake that we commit, we are definitely on the right track, and we are on the road to self improvement. Okay, so now, coming to the homework question that I had given you in the last session, list 3 functions of the nucleus. I think it was a very simple and straightforward one. I did receive multiple answers, but then here are a couple of answers that I got first, like among the first few, from Rupa and Ankush. So Rupa says 3 important functions are that first of all, it contains genetic information about the cell. Then ribosomes are formed in nucleolus, part of the nucleus, which are important for protein synthesis, and it controls the cell metabolism and cell activities. Okay, thank you very much, Rupa. And there we go. There is Ankush's answer also. I think the main difference I can see between these answers is that Rupa has also mentioned about nucleolus, the function of nucleolus in the formation of ribosomes, which is also actually a chief function of the nucleus. So thank you very much, Rupa, Ankush, and everyone else, all my dear children who have given me the answer to this particular question. Okay, so let us move ahead, children. Here are some of the problems that our students, many of our students keep telling us that they face all this because of exclusive online education these days. School is online, all kinds of training is happening online, everything is online. So you may have a lot of unanswered doubts. You may not have access to proper notes, maybe not systematic tests and assignments, maybe not for all of you, but most of you is what we've seen. Competitive exam preparation becomes very challenging. Choice of schedule, choice of language, all of that becomes a huge problem. But then don't worry at all, because at Vedantu, we've got all of these problems solved just for you, along with a few additional interesting bonuses, which are unlimited live classes, all micro and crash courses, performance reports, personalized attention, and a lot more. Okay, so one thing is for sure, you will definitely find something that suits you if you visit this link, vdnt.in/ytpro, wherein you will be guided through a list of steps. You will get to choose your grade. So perhaps it's going to be 9 for you guys, because it's a CBSE 9 batch, I suppose. And target will be CBSE 2021. If it's something else, choose it accordingly. And then the details are all given of what we call Vedantu Pro. Vedantu Pro courses. You find all these features in addition to the bonuses that I have told you. Just click on the button get subscription, and then comes the question of pricing. So here I have listed out the pricing for 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months of subscription to the pro courses. 1 month, normally the price payable is 2,699, as you can see here, but application of the code AMBPRO fetches you a discount and reduces it to 2,294.15. For 3 months, it's going to be 6,999, which is normally payable, but after application of exactly the same code AMBPRO, you have to pay only 5,949.15 for 3 full months of subscription, which means for 3 months you have unlimited access to all of these features and courses. Okay, and then for 6 months, wherein the amount payable is normally 11,499, but again, the same coupon code AMBPRO can give you an offer and reduce it to 9,774.15. Okay, children, so make the best use of it. Choose whatever suits you, your timings, your favorite teachers, everything. Just go ahead and have a look at it. You have nothing to lose. You have a lot of things that you will find interesting, and online education will be a lot more fun than you perhaps ever thought it could be. Okay, so today let us learn about all of these. Endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, ribosomes, lysosomes, plastids, centrosomes, vacuoles, and of course, most importantly, at the end, the difference between plant and animal cells. Okay, guys, so get ready and off we go. This is what we've seen in the previous session also, the outline of an animal cell and a plant cell. We've seen the major parts of a typical eukaryotic cell, right, which are the cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm, cell membrane or the plasma membrane as we may call it, and plants additionally have what we call the cell wall also, right? So today we are going to be learning about a lot more things which are inside the cell. Now, you know that cytoplasm is where you find all the cell organelles, except the nucleus, okay, because nucleus is a very special VIP for the cell. So let the nucleus be special, although it's inside the cell. The rest outside the nucleus, the gelatinous matrix is what we call cytoplasm, in which you find all of these organelles that I have listed a couple of minutes ago embedded in it. Okay, so I think the best way to learn it is by thinking of some analogy for this. I really love, personally, I love analogies for most concepts of biology, and especially a concept as basic as the cell is no different. So what I have in mind is something that will be useful to you. I mean, of course, you can go ahead and create your own, but I was just thinking maybe something like a factory. Imagine one single eukaryotic cell to be a factory, and let's see if we can assign appropriate roles to every major organelle. Okay, so maybe not complete justice to it, but then I'm sure at least most of it will be clear in your mind if you study it like that. Okay, so let's get going. So of course there will be minor differences between an animal cell and the plant cell, as we've discussed earlier also. Like for instance, the vacuole may be huge in a plant cell. They also have what we call chloroplast, and of course the presence of the cell wall around the cell, which is like the outermost covering in the case of a plant cell. So let's get started. First of all, talking about the endoplasmic reticulum. So you know what, if you are thinking about the cell as a factory, to start off, let me tell you, think about whatever we've done in the last session, which means plasma membrane, nucleus, a cell wall and the cytoplasm. Okay, I want you to think about the cell wall, which is of course only in plant cells and some bacterial cells. The cell wall can be considered to be the main gate of the factory. Okay, the main gate, anybody and everybody can come in and go out. There is no proper check or anything like that. So cell wall is the outermost gate. Inner to that, there is a security check, wherein there is a person to check whether you have an ID proof, whether you are like going in for a specific reason or specific purpose or whatever. So the cell membrane represents that particular gate through which you need to undergo a security check. Okay, cell wall, cell membrane, and the nucleus, most importantly, I would call it the CEO's office. Okay, inside the factory there is a beautiful room, a beautiful office, which is the CEO's office, the Chief Executive Officer's office. Okay, so he or she is in charge of everything else that is happening inside the cell. Okay, so sub parts of the nucleus, if you want, like nucleolus and all of that, you can give it another role according to your creativity. I'm just trying to set the base for you. Okay, then the cytoplasm, what will you relate to the cytoplasm? Cytoplasm, as I told you, is the gelatinous matrix where all the cell organelles are embedded. So you can consider it to be the floor, the smooth floor of the entire factory, starting from the entrance inside the security check gate. Inside everywhere except inside the CEO's office, because CEO's office is very, very special. As I told you, it's got its own carpeted velvety floors and all of that. Cytoplasm is a little different from that. Okay, so now coming to endoplasmic reticulum, which is one of those organelles which you would find in the cytoplasm. So how would you see it? As you can see in this picture here, it's an irregular network of double membraned tubules. Okay, it is continuous with the plasma membrane on the outside and the nuclear membrane on the inside. Okay, so try visualizing it. There are two major types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, as the name indicates, one has a smooth surface and one has a rough surface. If you see here, this is what the rough endoplasmic reticulum is. Okay, RER is here, and what you see here is pretty much smooth. Why is it rough and smooth? The RER is exactly the same as SER, but the only difference is that the major difference is that RER gets its rough appearance because of the presence of ribosomes. Those spots that you see there, giving it the rough appearance, are actually ribosomes, which are important in protein synthesis in a cell. Okay, so let's come to the chief functions of the endoplasmic reticulum. It forms a basic supporting framework for the cell, very important. Secondly, synthesis and transport of proteins and fats. RER, as I told you, because it's got ribosomes, is involved in the synthesis and transport of proteins. And SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, is involved in lipid and fat synthesis mainly. SER also plays a role in detoxifying many poisons and drugs in vertebrate liver cells. Now, liver cells, if you think of the human example itself, we know that it's an organ where a lot of detoxification process happens, right? So, SER can be found to be a lot in amount in organs like the, or in tissues like the liver, the human liver cells or the vertebrate liver cells in general, because it plays a role in detoxification of many poisons and drugs over there. Okay, this is about the endoplasmic reticulum. To get a better picture, it's right here. This is the nucleus, children, that you can see. And what you see here, this blue structure is the endoplasmic reticulum. Of course, both RER and SER are there. Okay, children, so before going ahead, let me tell you what role ER can probably play in our cell factory. What do you think it can do? Now, because it is just outside the nucleus, I think it has the ability to play the role of a PA, a personal assistant to the CEO. Okay, because it's right outside the CEO's office room and it's there deciding on a lot of things. And RER and SER, you can perhaps give them sub roles as in how you like it. Okay, depending on their functions. I told you protein synthesis and lipid synthesis. So those I leave it to your wish. But I think to remember the position of endoplasmic reticulum, it's a good idea to imagine it as the PA or the personal assistant of a nucleus. Moving ahead, now let's talk about the mitochondria. Mitochondrion is singular, mitochondria is plural. It's sausage shaped, that is double membraned. Its inner walls are folded as cristae, as you can see here. Or if I had to draw it, this is the outer wall. The inner wall would be something like this. Okay. Yes, this is what one mitochondrion is. It has its own DNA, unlike unlike most other organelles, and like the nucleus, mitochondria have their own DNA. It is actually said that there is a theory that mitochondria initially were independent organisms by themselves, which is why they have their own DNA and all that. And later, it seems it came to a point of time where some animal cell must have gobbled it up for some reason, I don't know, and it ended up finding itself inside an animal cell. And then the animal cell found it so useful to it because, okay, this thing is doing a lot of cool jobs, a lot of cool functions, so let's not leave it. And then mitochondria was never ever left alone as an independent organism again. Okay, this is one theory that I have read about and heard about. So just wanted to tell that to you. It has its own ribosomes also. So what are its chief functions? The main thing is that mitochondria act as a major site of cellular respiration, especially in aerobic respiration. Like in our case, oxygen is used for respiration, as we know. A major part of respiration inside every cell occurs in this part, which we call mitochondria. And what happens at the end of respiration? Energy is released. Energy in the form of ATP gets released, and because of this, we call the mitochondria as the powerhouse of a cell. Okay, so I would like to give the mitochondrion the role of the power generation unit inside the factory. Okay, that is the mitochondrion. There can be one or many mitochondria depending upon the need of a particular cell. For example, like muscle cells, which need a lot of energy, may have a lot more mitochondria as compared to many other normal cells of the body, which don't need as much energy. It also dictates ribosomes to synthesize proteins. That's also like one secondary function of mitochondria. But of course, site of cellular respiration, because it generates ATP, is the major function. As you can see, these are the mitochondria here. Okay. Moving ahead to the Golgi apparatus, as you can see, it looks like stacks of flattened membrane sacs, and it consists of what we call tubules or cisternae, vesicles and vacuoles. Tubules are these structures, vesicles are these roundish structures. What does it do? It synthesizes and secretes enzymes, hormones, etc. It is also involved in the formation of acrosome of sperm, which is found only in animal cells. So children, Golgi apparatus, so how do you visualize it? How do you give it a role in the cell factory? I think we can call the Golgi apparatus as the courier point. Okay. Why so? Because you know what it actually does? It receives, I told you, ribosomes found in endoplasmic reticulum, they synthesize proteins, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum synthesizes lipids, right? So products like lipids and proteins, which are synthesized in other parts of the cell, are sent, like packaged and sent into the Golgi apparatus. Okay, so Golgi apparatus, just like any other courier point in an office or something like that, it has a receiving unit, it has a delivering unit also. Receiving unit receives all of these raw products, okay, like proteins and lipids, which are synthesized in ER, and maybe like the independently lying ribosomes also. It receives it, packages it, and from the delivery point, it sends it out to the respective delivery places, which can be anywhere. Maybe if there is any protein or lipid which has to go and be sent to the plasma membrane because it needs some kind of repair or replacement, it sends it, the delivery point of the Golgi apparatus sends it to the plasma membrane. Of course, in the form of vesicles, neatly packaged in vesicles. And if there is any other point where, like any other part of the cell where it has to go, it sends it there. It can also happen that it sends certain contents outside the cell, okay, as and when required. So this is why Golgi apparatus, we can call it storage, modification and packaging of products, is what happens inside Golgi apparatus. So acts like the courier point of the factory or office that we are talking about. And where do you find the Golgi apparatus? Yes, it is right here. Okay. Now comes the ribosomes. I have mentioned this as part of endoplasmic reticulum also, but then those were attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. In addition to those attached ribosomes, there can also be ribosomes which lie scattered freely in the cytoplasm, as you see in this picture. Okay, so they are generally single-walled and they are dense organelles. They are spherical bodies made up of RNA, which is a type of nucleic acid. What is the importance? Well, ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis in every cell. Okay, so where does it get, how is it able to manufacture proteins? It's actually a long story. The NEET level biology will actually explain it a lot more. In your 11th and 12th, you learn this a lot more in detail. But then for starters, let me tell you, using information that is there in the DNA. Where do you find the DNA? Inside the nucleus, which means inside the CEO's office. Using information in the DNA, so a series of reactions occur in the nucleus, in the cytoplasm. Okay, and in the ribosome, part of that, part of those sequence of steps happens, and that information that it gets from the DNA gets converted to proteins. Okay, that is what makes up many of your enzymes and hormones and the proteinaceous hormones and a lot of others. This is why ribosomes are very, very important. Okay, either lying independently or as part of the endoplasmic reticulum. So the role that I was thinking about assigning the ribosome is, in our factory it can act like the pantry, or a temporary kitchen, not exactly like a full-fledged kitchen, but a pantry where there are basic facilities for storage of food, and it can also make like basic things like maybe instant noodles, instant pasta, bread, butter, jam, and tea, coffee, all of those, vending machine, and all of those are there. Okay, acts like a basic pantry in the factory or the office that we are talking about. Why am I not calling it the kitchen? That I will tell you in some time. Okay, so here we go. You find the ribosomes either attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, or you find them freely lying in the cytoplasm. Okay, now coming to the lysosomes, which are membranous sacs, as you can see. They actually bud out of Golgi body. There are beautiful visualizations, beautiful animations that we can actually find that show how it pinches out of the Golgi body and forms. It is said to have 40 different types of enzymes. So why is it important? The most important function of lysosome is that it helps in destroying foreign substances, old or injured cells, and also in overall intracellular digestion. So we call lysosomes as suicide bags of the cell. Suicide bags of the cell. Okay, because it helps in destroying, like getting rid of all the garbage and dump. So the role that I was thinking of assigning lysosomes in our cell factory was the role of housekeeping staff, because they help in keeping it all clean and tidy. They are very, very important. They are doing a very important job, and that is exactly what lysosomes are also doing, getting rid of all the unwanted junk and maintaining it clean. Suicide bags of the cell is the official nickname that is given to lysosomes because they carry out intracellular digestion. Okay, now yes, this is the lysosome that you can see here. Okay, there may be a few or many lysosomes depending upon whether it's a plant cell or an animal cell or whatever. But before we proceed, children, let's have a very quick check and see if we have understood whatever we've learned until now. Which organelle is the control center of the cell that controls protein making and reproduction? Okay, control center of the cell. CEO's office, basically. It also, I told you, it has the message for protein making also. So obviously, yes, the answer is nucleus. Next is, which organelle packages proteins and fats from the endoplasmic reticulum? Yes, packaging experts. And you are right, it is the Golgi bodies. Okay, and now, which organelle is sometimes rough and sometimes smooth? And your time is up. The answer is endoplasmic reticulum. RER, synthesizing proteins. SER, synthesizing lipids or fats. Now, game alert, spot the number of mitochondria in the given picture. Ready, guys? Yes. Do you think there is one mitochondrion here, or do you see 2, 3 or 4 mitochondria here? You must be able to identify mitochondria in the cell. That's the whole idea. And your time is up. The answer is 3. Yes, you said it right. It is here, here, and here. Okay, and well done, all of you guys who've got it correct. And with that, let's move ahead. Plastids are actually an organelle which is exclusive to plants. Okay, animals don't have plastids. Animal cells don't have plastids. There are different types of plastids, but the most common type is chloroplasts. Okay. They contain structures called thylakoids, which you see here, like stacks arranged, like imagine it like coins stacked one on top of the other. Each individual coin is called a thylakoid. Imagine it something like that. It's a double membraned organelle as well. It has its own DNA and proteinaceous matrix, just like the case of mitochondria. Okay, what about its function? One is that it helps in initiation and regulation of cell division in a plant cell. It also helps in formation of spindle fiber with the help of asters. Okay, and they are involved in photosynthesis. Chloroplasts, we know that. Thylakoids contain chlorophyll, as I have told you. So obviously, it has to be the site of photosynthesis. So since I told you that plastids are where photosynthesis occurs and it occurs only in a plant cell, I think they deserve to be the actual proper kitchen of a plant cell, okay, of the factory. If you are thinking about a collective animal cell and plant cell together in one factory, I think this is why I was saying that ribosomes should only be a temporary pantry, like for quick access to food items, instant items with vending machine and all of that. But plastids should be like the core kitchen where a master chef is there to prepare food. And what is that food? It is glucose formed as a result of photosynthesis. Okay, this is what plastids are about, and you can see chloroplasts here. There are also other types of plastids like leucoplasts and all of those. Okay, so moving ahead to centrosomes. This is something we find exclusive to animal cells. They are located near the nucleus, so give it an appropriate role as you desire, like just outside the nucleus. It may contain one or two structures that are called centrioles, which are surrounded by microtubules. Where have we heard this? Well, microtubules are actually important in cell division because they help in spindle formation. Now, at the time of cell division, imagine these are the centrioles. Okay, this would be the structure that a cell assumes somewhere in the middle of cell division. There would be chromosomes which are there. Spindles are formed from the centrioles to attach to the chromosomes like this. Okay, and they help in moving around the chromosomes and giving them enough support at the time of cell division. This is why centrosomes are important. They are made up of a couple of centrioles, as you can see here. This is one centriole and this is the other centriole. Okay, just to give you a little bit of extra information, nothing complex. Microtubules are the structures, the tubular structures that you see here. One type of microtubule is what we call forms the spindle apparatus, or those spindle fibers which help in moving around chromosomes at the time of cell division. Okay, this is about the centrosomes. So then how do plant cells undergo division? If centrosomes are like exclusive to animal cells, what happens in plant cells? Plant cells, although they don't have centrosomes, they have certain proteins and they have certain centers in their cells which are important and helpful in organizing these microtubules, and from there spindles can be formed. Okay, now coming to the next part, which is vacuoles. Vacuole is this part that you see here, this whitish part. It's a huge one in the case of plant cells. It may be small, temporary, or no vacuoles at all in the case of animal cells. It's a clear space filled with solution. Plants have larger vacuoles. Covering of the vacuole, of this membrane, is what we call tonoplast. Okay, so imagine the vacuole to be the storeroom in your factory. Okay, what does it do? Its functions? Yes, it stores water, food, pigments, and waste products. Most importantly, it does give turgidity to plant cells because it's so big and it's filled with fluid. It helps in giving that much needed turgidity to plant cells. It also contains pigments like anthocyanins, which give some plant parts a violet blue color, and so on. In animal cells, it acts as a temporary storage organ. Okay, so here we go in this. This is what the vacuole is. Okay, now let's look at the difference between a plant and an animal cell. The most important ones are listed out here, children. I want all of you to go through it, mainly in terms of size. What you can see, plant cells are generally larger. Secondly, about cell walls. Plant cells have a cell wall, whereas animal cells don't. Plasmodesmata, connections between cytoplasm of adjacent cells. Remember, I told you they are present in plant cells but absent in animal cells. Chloroplast is present in a plant cell, absent in animal cells. Vacuoles are large and permanent in plant cells, small and temporary in animal cells. And again, talking about vacuoles, there is a tonoplast in the case of plant cell, but there is usually not a permanent structure for vacuole in an animal cell, so we don't talk about it. Centrioles are absent in plant cells except motile cells of lower plants, but in animal cells centrioles play a huge role because they are part of the centrosomes, right? Nucleus in plant cells are usually found at the periphery of the cell, but here it's found more or less at the center of a cell. Lysosomes are also said to be rarer in plant cells, whereas they are always present in the case of animal cells and play a huge role. Storage material in plant cells is starch grains. Here it's typically glycogen granules. Okay, so these go through all of these, children, at least like 5-6 differences. If you can remember, it would really help you. Major differences you will certainly remember if you study it like this. And with that, we come to the end of teaching this chapter's contents. Let's quickly have a quiz and wind up for the day. Which organelle provides energy or power for plant and animal cells by combining sugar with oxygen? Respiration. Organelle involved in respiration. Yes, I have told you this. And your time is up. The answer is mitochondria. Yes, next one. Which organelle provides food for plant cells through photosynthesis? Yes, the main kitchen of the factory. And you are right, it is the chloroplast because they are the site of photosynthesis. Now, the organelle which looks like little dots and makes proteins in the cell. Little dots and makes proteins in the cell. Remember, the temporary kitchen, I told you, has a vending machine and all of that. Makes chai, coffee, instant noodles, instant pasta, all of that. Which organelle was that? Yes, it is the ribosomes. And well done, all of you guys. I hope this made it easier for you to remember the organelles, all of which we have listed out here. Before we meet again, I would also like to give you a homework question. Mitochondria is a powerhouse of the cell, but which molecule actually provides the power in the form of bond energy? Okay, it's called powerhouse of the cell, but which is the molecule which is actually the form of energy stored in the mitochondria or generated in the mitochondria? Okay, give me an answer to that. And before you say goodbye, let me just remind you, remember to visit vdnt.in/ytpro and use the coupon code AMBPRO. A lot of exciting courses are right there waiting for you. Please do go ahead and have a look at them. And thank you very much, children. Please do remember to hit the like button right now if you found this useful. Share it with all your class 9 CBSE friends, and I think even class 9 ICSE and class 11 CBSE will also benefit from this because this is a basic chapter. So it's important to get this well clearly in your head. Remember to subscribe to our channel Vedantu 9th and 10th English in case you haven't done that yet. And in the meantime, you can also reach out to me through email. Until we meet again, this is Ambika signing off. Take care, stay happy and stay healthy. Bye-bye.